includes the fact that vulnerable people must still shelter at home. But for those who are not in the vulnerable population, yes, they need to be aware to avoid, groups of more than 10, to keep that 6 to 10 foot distancing, to wear a cloth covering. So we have to continue to oblige, Americans to adhere to the guidelines to protect themselves, because we don't want them going out into the public and then bringing home disease to their loved ones, to their grandma, grandpa, or someone with an underlying medical disease.
There is also that preparatory phase, and Dagan, we heard about that yesterday with, I believe it was GM, where they were saying that they're beginning the stage where you tell people we're getting ready to go back to work. You begin to prep the factories. Just because you're reopening things doesn't mean they're really reopening. I mean, there is a phase that things you have to do in order to ramp up. That's some of what's going on, is it not?
Indeed, and there's certain industries that can easily reopen. For example, construction work is considered an essential business in many of the parts of the country that is shut down. And just in New York City, you can see some construction workers and some construction projects kind of coming back online, if you will. To Brett's point, he was joking about the perk and pooch, and you have to say it like you're from Georgia. But these are businesses. If you're in a dog grooming business, why can't you be open at this point? If somebody drops their dog off outside, takes the leash off, pushes the dog into the door, and you don't have any physical contact with the person who's working there, this is how we begin to reopen an economy. But to Dr. Neshwat's point, Georgia has not met some other metrics that doctors look at in terms of the percentage of positives that you're getting from testing. You're looking for maybe a 10% positive or lower. Anything higher than that suggests that there are a lot of positive coronavirus individuals who are being missed. Broadly, the U.S. is testing at a 20% positive rate. Georgia is even higher than the national average right now. At 23% of tests administered are positive. So there needs to be more testing in Georgia.
Yeah, and the Republican congressman from that state, Doug Collins, echoing some of those concerns. Let's listen, and Harris will get you on the other side.
This is going to be an opening that needs to happen, but it's also an opening that we need to make sure people are comfortable. That's why the president put out the guidelines that he did. We need to follow those guidelines. If we get ahead of those guidelines, I think that's the national standard. Every state has the ability to do what they want to do, and the governor has that right to do it, and I respect that. I, just like him and the president, want to see it open back up, but it's a balancing of listening to all interest and not just simply saying, here's the interest and we're going to open back up.
Harris?
Well, I'm grappling with what the metric actually is. Does it have more to do with, as Doug Collins just said, Representative Collins just said, what people are comfortable with, or are we looking at the science? Because the science is irrefutable that we're looking at from even what Dagan just said. I mean, 23% positive of those tested, and we know that there's not exactly widespread testing where it needs to be almost anywhere. Like, we're still ramping up to that. So that's 23% of those that now in a more depressed testing state are getting looked at and testing positive. And then also the governor of Georgia says he's going to allow the shelter-in-place order to expire at the end of the month, which is next Thursday. So again, what is the science that's being looked at? That may be the comfortability, if you will, with what people want to do in the economy. And the suffering there is real in terms of people going without paychecks. But the comfortability, for instance, I know Brett was kind of teasing about, and now we're all going to say it, bark a pooch, because I'm from Georgia. But I will say this, why are we leaning in on tonsorial delights? Like, it is difficult to get your hair, my fro blown out with a 6-foot difference between me and someone. And I can't wear a mask doing it, because then the part that the mask is on won't get blown out, and I got enough issues doing it myself. But I'm just wondering, in all seriousness, why those businesses, it's going to be difficult to distance per services anyway.
And let's ask Dr. Neshwat, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it is a challenge, and that's why we have to open up the economy in phases, and that's why those who are most vulnerable stay home in phase 1. But That's why workplace centers, for example, a barbershop, they need to have a plan in place, a strategic plan in place to protect their employees and to protect the customers. For example, are you going to do temperature checks?